Welcome to Screen Talk with yours truly, Nomfanelo. So today I'm revisiting a topic that I've previously covered here on the channel, which is the I'll be discussing all we imagine as like in regards to the controversy surrounding the FFI, aka the Film Federation of India, with their decision to essentially snub that movie in favor of their preferred pick, Lapida Ladies. So a lot has happened since I've previously discussed that topic. So the movie All We Imagine as Light was picked up by Sideshow and Janus Films for distribution in North America. It has won so far a lot of critics awards and has been nominated for awards such as Golden Globes. So I would say, yeah, the film so far is doing great on that respect. We'll see what happens when it comes to the Oscars, when I believe those nominations are announced in sometime in January. I don't remember the exact date. But yeah, regardless, seems like the movie is doing well. It's being received well by the critics, of course, and I'm sure the audiences will embrace that movie too. Now, while with the FFI's pick Lapida Ladies, I don't know how it's doing in terms of critical, but in regards to the Oscar ways, it was announced a couple days ago that it did not make the Oscar shortlist for the international film category, which I am not too surprised by that, just given the other films that are in consideration for this category. So I would argue that a lot of people are not surprised. But however, the FFI, the jury head for FFI, has came out to discuss all we imagine is light. So let me just bring up this article right here. So this was, I found this on World of Real, where essentially the headline reads, "The film was very poor technically." So let's go on what they see here. So, as I mentioned, the film is doing great in terms of reception from critics, did well at Cannes, and all that stuff. So, in an interview, says here with Hindustan Times, if sorry about the mispronunciation. So, Janu Bara, so he is the jury head for the FFI. So essentially, he has doubled down the decision to essentially snub All We Imagine Is Light, where he said, "Oh, the film is very poor technically." So there's a quote here that says, "The backlash was uncalled for, actually. Why should people say such things? It's very unfortunate. People should try to accept it as the jury's decision. I have had many of my films go to many competitions. At some places they were awarded, and at some places they failed to win. That doesn't mean I should have a negative review of that process. We should be respectful towards the process. The jury felt that her film was very poor technically." Honestly, when I first saw this, I had to do a double take. I'm like, well, what does he mean by this? Because being very poor can be is up to interpretation. Like, is are they referring to the look of the movie or certain aspects of the movie, or is it because it's not a Bollywood movie? I mean, who knows what he means. So a couple hours ago, I decided to watch this movie. I checked it out at the Bytown Cinema. I had to brave the cold winter weather to see this, and I actually love this movie. It's a fantastic movie. I would say, yeah, like it does well on my book, on all elements. That's pretty much what I have to say about the movie. The movie's fantastic. I don't know what Bara is meaning by these comments, but I say, yeah, like it's a really good movie, and I do hope it does get considered for other categories it's eligible for, but we shall wait and see what happens during award season. So, And then he also, Bara goes on to criticize the film as lacking Indianness needed to qualify for representing the country, and that in comparison, Lapida Ladies had the right elements and presented the social chaos we go through brilliantly. Honestly, that is just messed up because I've seen excuses like this where they'll say, "Oh, this movie is not X enough," mainly what because of either the subject matter and all that stuff, which is ridiculous because in this case, I mean, like a movie being what either less or more Indian, like that could be up to interpretation depending on who you ask. But if we're going to go on the technical aspect, so the article mentions that the cast and crew is 95% Indian and all that stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like with the jury head here is coming up with excuses as to why they're not choosing this movie. Honestly, they could have just said we straight out don't like the movie. So I don't know why he has to go on to say, oh, like it was poor technically, it's not Indian enough. And I think also too he's mentioned that, oh, it's not European enough, which is with I'm say not European, sorry. He mentions that it's very European because with the movie being a co-production between India, I don't remember what other countries, but there's different countries co-producing this movie essentially. But honestly, the what this guy is saying is just ridiculous. And I want to look what people say here in the comments. So one person says their country hasn't been nominated since 2001, so maybe it's time for new selectors. The selection committee is just burying themselves deeper with this backhanded BS. Everyone knows that the only Indian aspect that's at stake here is that it shows how the society treats its middle and lower class. A superb movie that is one of the year's best from any country. Um, just as an added note, yes, their critique that the film wasn't Indian enough is indeed absurd. The film was shot in location in India. The cast and crew were almost exclusively Indian. I believe their jury didn't pick this movie for the same reason that Japan didn't pick Evil Does Not Exist, because it has a pro working class, anti corporate message. Um, what else people say here? Uh, LOL, that's certainly one defense when the film you snubbed has gotten critical acclaim pretty much everywhere else. At least the Globe's nom for Capadia is cool. Let's see if it can get traction from BAFTAs or anywhere else. Um, yeah, or they should have all been collectively fired after not picking RR. Goes on to say, or one person says here, I wasn't the biggest fan of All We Imagine Is Light, but what the F is that statement? Uh, oh my lord, what clowns. So yeah, it's safe to say a lot of people, whether they're film fans of the film or not, are not happy with the jury head's comments here on the movie. So honestly, that is just ridiculous. And I want to bring up here that I saw recently that Obama he put this movie as his one of his favorite movies that came out this year. I saw this on Twitter, as you could see here, and also too, yeah, like I said, a lot of people are not happy with those comments, with what the jury had to say. So one person came out here, Hansel Mehta, who I believe is a filmmaker. I'm not too sure. So he says here, quote, it's indeed disappointing to hear. I was asked to be on this jury several times, including this time, but I'd rather stay away than have to pretend that all these choices are free of external pressures and only based on merit. Besides, I refuse to accept that FFI can decide these things, including selections of juries, which is interesting to say here. And all this stuff kind of it's really telling for sure. It's quite like bizarre with what FFI has to say, but I'm not surprised. with everyone, including people within the industry, are essentially denouncing those comments and all that stuff. So yeah, like I won't be surprised if, let's say, because of the FFI's history of snubbing like the obvious choices in favor of their preferred pick for whatever reason, I won't be surprised if there are calls like to essentially have an overhaul of the board, whether that means to either add new members or to somehow remove all or most of the members and just get new people on board. So, and that reminds me, because while like seeing this story, it kind of for me drew parallels to another movie that had similar situation, which was Anatomy of a Fall. So if you guys remember, so Anatomy of a Fall, also like All We Imagine Is Light, that premiered at the Cannes Film Festival to acclaim. I believe it won a prize there, and the filmmaker Justin Trier essentially spoke out against. I don't know if it's against the prime minister or or government, one of those things. But during her speech at the Cannes Festival, so yeah, with that movie, it was notoriously snubbed by the France Oscar committee, even though it was technically eligible because they decided to choose The Taste of Things, which I don't think was nominated when during that time. I think it was earlier this year, but regardless of what the film board for France thought, the movie did very well during award season. It won a lot of like critics awards. Trier, she won Golden Globe and won, I think, BAFTA too, and the Oscar she won for original screenplay. So I guess goes to show that even though um, the board would reject the obvious choices for whatever reason, it shows that you don't need them because you could go on to win awards without their support. And Variety brought up an interesting point here. So I think it was, yeah, back in 2021, the France Film Board, so they decided to choose Titan. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. They decided to choose that movie over this movie called Happening, which explored abortions and all that stuff. Because I think Happening apparently at the time has gotten a lot of like critical acclaim and all that stuff, and because of that decision, that apparently was that created huge scandals, and that led to apparently an overhaul of the board, and some prominent members they left and all that stuff. So yeah, that I thought that was interesting. So if this situation, I won't be surprised if something similar were to happen with the FFI. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, because otherwise, if there's no immediate change to the board, or if, let's say, if the Oscars, let's say, they don't change their Eurovision type rules for this category, I think things are still going to remain where they are, and there just won't be and there just won't be any immediate change to that. So that's essentially my thoughts on this topic. So I would love to know, what do you guys think about all of this? Have you seen All Imagine Is Light? If so, let me know in the comment section. Or have you seen Lapida Ladies? Let me know in the comments section. Love to know what you guys think about all this. Because do you think something will happen to FFI, or do you think things will just be remained unchanged? I mean, let me know in the comment section. So also too, if you want to support me, you could visit my Buy Me a Coffee, which the link is in the description, where you could support me via donation. Be very appreciated. Also, too, if you want to follow me on social media, my links are in the description. So I want to say thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to catch you on the next one.